Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Danny Buck. We talk about a lot of different games on Top 10 Gaming, but I have to admit League of Legends is probably one of my all-time favorites. There are over 100 million people who play this game every single month. So to be called one of the best, you have to be insanely good. Now, if you want to see what a true champion looks like, this right here is the top 10 League of Legends greatest players of all time. Coming in at number 10 now, we have Alex Each. This Russian mid lane player has been on many teams throughout the years, but we all know him for leading one team in particular, Moscow 5. In 2012, he led a ragtag squad of nobodies to dominate the European LoL scene. Just 1 month after the team formed, they won IEM Kiev, dropping only a single game to TSM in the finals. Alex's off-meta picks helped them go on to win the IEM World Championship, ECC Poland, and the European Regional Qualifiers. This brought M5 to the World Championships, where their unstoppable streak was finally brought to an end by the Taipei Assassins, who would actually go on to win the whole tournament.
Double kill comes out! Moscow 5 looking very grim right now. The finals! And online in a major tournament, the first to take out Moscow 5.
Moscow 5 never really regained their former glory, but Alex will never be forgotten as one of the greats. Moving on to number 9 now, we have DaDe. Undoubtedly one of the best junglers to step onto the Rift, DaDe managed to stand out even among the star-studded roster of Sang-hyeok. His supportive jungling style became legendary by no accident. He had impeccable game knowledge and was always exactly where he needed to be, whether it was roaming with Mata or his on-point counter ganks.
Trying to get him, but Zero's taking on the turret. He's going to go down as well. Insect low, Insect goes down. Now Uzi in trouble.
Still, even great players need to prove their greatness, and DaDe's chance came in the shape of the Season 4 World Championships, where they decimated the competition to become world champions, locking in DaDe's legendary status in the process. At number 8 now, we have Smeb. 2016 was the golden age for Smeb. As top laner for the ROX Tigers, he crushed his opponents to give the team second place in spring and first in summer, earning himself an MVP award both times. As that year went on, his flawless mechanics and ridiculous champion pool led many experts to think he would lead the ROX Tigers to win Worlds. They did end up falling short, meaning Smeb has yet to get the international recognition that would push him up further on this list. But it's hard to argue a player this dominant shouldn't be on the list at all.
He ain't remember, but he needs mega.
Next up at number 7 now, we have Madlion. Support players often don't get the recognition they deserve, but how could anyone ignore Madlion? He changed the game for supports. Many LoL fans will associate his name with his insane ability to land every single hook, especially predictive ones. But for the experts, Madlion will not only be remembered for his playmaking ability, but also his game knowledge, his excellent vision control, and his ability to lead a team from the support role. Now, despite the fact that he was never surrounded by talent as great as his own, he still manages to make it into conversations about the greatest players of all time, which is an achievement in itself for such a team-based game. At the number 6 spot now, we have Mata. When it comes to supports, you need to know how good Madlion was, and then hear that Mata was better, to truly wrap your head around this guy's abilities. While Madlion and other great supports have had standout abilities in certain areas, Mata's abilities never seemed to really stand out because they were all equally insanely good. As a support for Sang-hyeok when they won Worlds, Mata became a legend and even won MVP of the whole entire tournament. Him and Imp made an unstoppable bot lane duo.
Andy by himself. Oh, going in elsewhere. Crystal going to come around the side. Paul actually flashed on the wall. DaDe's going to fall. Oh, there's the shield. Soon as well. Crystal going over. He gets exhausted. They're both going to go down.
In the time since then, he's had to somewhat live in his own shadow, although his recent performances on RNG and Katie Rolster suggest that Mata is still hungry for his former glory. Coming in at number 5 now, we have DaDe. Samsung Blue may have been ultimately overshadowed by Samsung White, but not DaDe. With 2 LCK championship titles under his belt, it's safe to say that Samsung Blue couldn't have reached their peak without DaDe reaching further than just about every mid laner in the world. He was a true blue aggressive mid laner that always seemed to draw team fights to his lane.
Elimination. Oh no, that misses. DaDe will get taken down already. Turns the kill around. The shield pulls in the ignite. Not quite gonna get him down. Sneaky's in trouble. It's gonna be an ace.
That was no accident. DaDe knew he would win them. It almost didn't matter who his teammates were. He won both of his LCK titles on two totally different teams, so nobody could really doubt his individual skill. Next up at number 4 now, we have Bang. It's hard to stand out on a team like SKT, but not if you're Bang. As seasons come and go and the meta shifts, Bang has stood like a rock as one of the best AD carries in the world. Nobody in his role has a trophy cabinet like his. It's hard to pick out his most impressive stats, but back-to-back World Championship titles are probably a good place to start. Some praise his mechanics, some praise his KDA, but for many people, what makes Bang so good is he holds up the SKT wall. The team has always had such talented solo laners that their opponents would try and crack SKT through their bot lane, but for years, Bang and Wolf have held the line.
In from behind, Sonic Wave needs to hit. Flash kick into the Sonic Wave. Now Bang's the target. Ambition sidesteps away. Bengi's running in. The kill. The outplay.
He has never been the weakest link. Sometimes he's even looked like the strongest, and unlike other greats on our list, all this shows no signs of stopping. Coming in at number 3 now, we have Clearlove. As you guys can tell from most of our lists so far, it's a Korean world and all other LoL players are just living in it. Not for Clearlove though. This Chinese jungler was infuriating to play against at his best because he just never slipped up. They say a jungler is only as good as his ability to smite. Well, Clearlove showed that a good jungler needs to be everywhere at once and be very smart. His incredible performances on World Elite and Edward Gaming left many fans wondering when he would finally burn out, but so far he's been the #1 jungler for an astonishing 5 years. His calculated plays worked so well with the aggressive Chinese meta that of the 5 positions in the game of LoL, people often dispute who the greatest are, but it would be difficult to argue Clearlove is not the greatest jungler of all time, period. And I wonder what it would require to take that title from him. Moving on to number 2 now, we have Wei Zhao. There have been so many good ADCs over the years from all over the world, but Wei Zhao was just insane. It's a role that arguably requires the highest mechanical skill, and Wei Zhao seemed to be born with it. During his time on World Elite, he went undefeated not only in China, but internationally for half a year. Yes, it was a team effort, but Wei Zhao put the carry in AD carry. There was no doubt that his lightning fast reflexes and outplay potential was the reason every single team withered when they went up against him. Yes, he was the greatest ADC of all time, but he might have even made it to #1 on our list if it wasn't for a certain Korean mid laner. At number 1, it is, of course, Faker. The craziest thing about Faker is that he truly is in a league of his own. For the past 3 years, this list you've been watching right now could have shifted around with players coming in and going, but the #1 spot would never change. Faker is the best League of Legends player of all time. He joined SKT as a promising up-and-coming talent, consistently outplaying his more experienced opponents in the mid lane with the sharpest mechanics a lot of people had ever seen. As Faker smashed anything Korea put in front of him, SKT began to build their team around him, and his opponents threw everything into stopping him. No matter how hard they camped in though, Faker pulled through. Through metas from assassins to control mages, Faker began to crush any players or team from around the world.
Faker may be in trouble here, Deathmark tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves! Faker, what was that?
At the time of recording this video, Faker has won 3 World Championships with SKT, a feat only managed by his former teammate Bengi. Well guys, those were my picks for the top 10 League of Legends greatest players of all time. Did I miss anyone out? I had to narrow my list down from like 20 to 10, so I'm interested to hear what your favourites are. I'm Danny Burke. Do subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in the next video.